Good evening, and it's an honor to be invited to the program. I'm very happy to be able to be here this evening. BAYT, thank you very much for making this possible, and in general for all you've done already for the community in your short time here. I really appreciate it. I thought I would present a short idea regarding the Choshen. Everyone has the source sheets? Good? Okay. BAYT, thank you for making the copies. I want to talk about the Choshen HaMishpat, the breastplate worn by the Kohen Gadol. If you take a look at the first source on the sheet, you'll see an explanation from the Zohar for what this breastplate included. We're probably familiar with the image of a rectangle that has 4 rows of 3 stones on each row, to get 12 altogether. The gems are outlined in Parshas Tetzaveh. Bonus points if you can actually identify what each gem actually is. But we're also told that they are Urim v'Tumim. Urim and Tumim is a very strange phrase. Very unclear what this means. I know Urim can mean lights. Tumim, tam, perfect, without a defect. What exactly does that mean? So look what the Zohar has to say in source number 1. I'm just reading out my English translation. You can see the original Aramaic if you like. The Urim de Naharim. They illuminate. They create light. Urim, or. The secret of the illuminating lens. I don't know what that means, but that's what he says. These are the letters of the holy name, the secret of the 42 with which the world was created. Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy fans, anybody here, right? 42 with which the world was created. Very good. These were engraved there. So the Urim has something to do with lights that illuminate and a lens and what the world was created with. And then Tumim, the secret of the letters included in the place of the opaque lens. Because you have an illuminating lens, so you have an opaque lens also, which conducts or illuminates with 72 letters, the secret of the holy name. All I get from this passage in the Zohar, as a neophyte in Kabbalah, is that there are 2 names of God, a 42-letter name of God, a 72-letter name of God, and somehow they're involved with the breastplate of the Kohen Gadol. What in the world is this talking about? I mean, it's a piece of clothing, right? It's shiny. Right? I'm sure certain people who maybe perhaps ethnically are very attracted to shiny, gaudy things because it's very attractive in their culture may find it particularly attractive. But at the end of the day, why is this a thing? What is this about mystic names of God? So in order to understand this, I think we need to look at the place of the Urim v'Tumim, and particularly one word that Torah uses to describe its role. I gave you in source number 2 a quick table listing the garments worn by the Kohen. So a regular Kohen wears linen michnasayim. It's an undergarment. Linen ketonet, which is like a tunic. You have pants and you have a tunic. And then the avnate, the belt that's worn over the tunic. It may be made of shatnez for a regular Kohen. It is definitely made of shatnez for the Kohen Gadol. And then you have a mikba'at, some kind of a linen turban that the Kohen has on his head. That's for all of the Kohanim. Then on top of that, you have the Kohen Gadol. And the Kohen Gadol has those 4, except that his hat is wrapped a little differently. His hat's not the same as theirs. And then, in addition to that, over the ketonet and over the over the ketonet and over its belt, he's going to wear a me'il, which is a tchelet tunic that he's wearing as well, made out of wool. Over the me'il, he has a vest called an ephod. Over the ephod, he has this Choshen breastplate, and on his head, he has a gold plate that says on it, Kodesh Hashem, sacred to God. Those are the garments of the Kohen Gadol, and when you think about it, you realize that you can actually divide them up into 2 units. There are really 2 areas. There's the head, and there's the heart for the Kohen Gadol. It's really about the head and the heart. The head, the hat, the mitznefet, and the tzitz, the plate that he wears on his forehead, which declares him holy to Hashem. And that's one place where he is, so to speak, communicating with Hashem. If you take a look in source number 3, the opening pasuk there, in the interest of time, I'm just reading out my English translation. It shall be, this plate shall be on the forehead of Aharon, and he carries the guilt of our korbanot. If we have a sacrifice that's brought in appropriately, Aharon is going to seek atonement, walking into the Beit HaMikdash wearing this plate on his head that declares him holy to Hashem. That is one means with which he communicates with God, is the head part of his gear. The other part is the heart. The me'il, the ephod over it, the Choshen over that, that's on his heart. And that's where the Choshen is. And if you take a look at source number 3, where we're told about the Choshen. So if you look in my English translation where it says, and you shall place, actually after that, and Aharon shall carry the names of Israel in the Choshen HaMishpat upon his heart. When he enters the sanctuary, he carries with him this breastplate. It has on it the names of each of the tribes. He brings that into the Kodesh when he goes before Hashem. And you shall place the Urim and Tumim, these names of Hashem apparently, in the Choshen HaMishpat, and they will be on Aaron's heart when he goes before God. I don't know if I rushed that or if that was clear. I'm sort of relying on the fact that some of this should be familiar. Just we read this year after year. But the point here is that his Choshen is really the centerpiece in the parts that are on his heart, the parts that are on his chest. And he's coming before God with it. And it's called a Choshen HaMishpat, of Mishpat. Tell me, what does the word Mishpat mean? Justice, right? Sorry? Laws, Mishpatim, statutes, right? Mm-hmm. So tell me, the Choshen is his breastplate. It has gems on it. It has the names of the tribes on it. He goes before Hashem with it. But what is it about this that connects to Mishpat? How does that connect to Mishpat? What does it have to do with justice at all? I mean, it's again, a garment. And what does that have to do with the names of Hashem? How does that fit in? So I want to show you quickly 3 ways in which the word Mishpat fits with the Choshen, and all of that will help us understand about the relationship with the names of Hashem, highlighted by the Zohar. The first approach is that Mishpat means Hashem's Mishpat for us. God's verdict for the Jewish people. That's what this is about. As the Netziv writes in source number 4, the Kohen brings it before God, L'zikaron lahem lifnei Hashem, a memorial for the Jews before God. V'stam zikaron liyeshuah. When we say it's for Hashem to remember us, it means to rescue us, to save us. We bring the Choshen in front of Hashem for Hashem to give us a positive decree. Just like the Kohen Gadol on Yom Kippur goes into the Kodesh Kadashim, goes into the Holy of Holies before Hashem to pray on behalf of the Jewish people, the Choshen seeks Hashem's positive mishpat for us. That's one meaning of Choshen Mishpat. We are looking for Hashem's mishpat for us. That's number 1. Number 2, second approach. Mishpat refers to justice, like we said, the justice that we practice. The Mishpat is about our justice. The Gemara in Sanhedrin notes in source number 5, the Kohanim serve in the same place where the Sanhedrin sit. What was the name of the room where the Sanhedrin met? Lishkat HaGazis, Lishkat HaGazit, depending on how you want to pronounce it, same place. Right? The room of the hewn stone. It is inside the Beit HaMikdash. According to the Gemara, it seems it was in the Mishkan as well. Was the place where the Sanhedrin were supposed to convene. The Kohanim are aligned with justice, with Mishpat. I brought you in source number 6 on the top of the second side. The Choshen actually atones for mistakes that we make in Mishpat. You know, Rav Moshe Isserlis wrote a work called Torat HaOlah. I don't know how many of you are familiar with this. I know some of you are familiar with this because we discussed it just the other day. The Ramah is best known, I think, to Ashkenazim as writer of what has become known as the Ashkenazi part of the Shulchan Aruch, the Code of Jewish Law. The Ramah was also a mystic and a philosopher. And he wrote a 3-volume work called Torat HaOlah, or as his Ashkenazi heirs would say, Torat HaOlah, in which he explained everything about the Mishkan and the Beit HaMikdash and the Karbanos via a blend of Moreh Nevuchim, the Rambam's Guide of the Perplexed on the one hand, and the Zohar on the other. It's a remarkable read. It's a lot of fun. So on the Choshen, if you take a look at source number 7, I didn't translate it because I wanted, one double-sided sheet, make it nice and clean. He shows you 4 ways in which the structure of the Choshen reflects lessons regarding how we practice justice. So, for example, I bolded the key parts. The Torah says you're not allowed to show favor to anybody in mishpat, in justice. If you look at the Choshen, all the tribes are listed there in the order in which they are born. No favor is shown to anybody. Nobody's better than anybody else. Number 2, he says, we are told that you have to listen to the case of the small and the case of the great. He says all the gems are there. Some of the gems are very valuable. Some of them are not so valuable. And yet they're all given even billing, straight billing in front of Hashem. How does he know not all the gems are valuable? I have no idea. But that's what he says. Take it as a given because the Ramah said so. The third, we are taught lo saguru mipnei ish. When you practice justice, you can't fear anybody. He says that's why you have the Shem HaMeforash, Hashem's name, on the Choshen to say justice goes with God. Don't fear any human being. And then finally, he says, since the Torah says, Moshe says, whatever is hard for you to figure out, bring it to me and I will hear it from Hashem. He says that's reflected in the Choshen, where the stones would illuminate with lessons from Hashem about whatever case was in front of the Kohen. Point being, second view of Mishpat is the justice that we practice. The first view is the Choshen is about seeking Hashem's verdict for us. The second version of it is that it's about bringing our justice, our practice of justice before Hashem. And then the third approach is that Mishpat is Hashem's guidance for us, Hashem's advice for us. This is probably the most famous function of the Choshen. If you take a look at source number 8, in which Yoshua is named as the successor for Moshe, and we are told that the successor for Moshe, Yoshua, shall stand before Elazar, who will be the Kohen Gadol, and he should ask of Elazar guidance from the Urim V'Tumim. And the Gemara in Yuma, in source number 9, explains about how the stones would light up or they would protrude and give answers to the questions that Yoshua and then his successors would ask before Hashem. So what we get here is Mishpat in 3 different ways, all of which are linked with the special name of Hashem. Either, again, just to recap, either Mishpat is a reference to Hashem's decree for us, the decree of that 42-letter name, 72-letter name, or Mishpat is the justice we practice that comes before Hashem in our merit, or it's Hashem's guidance for us. All 3 roles, interestingly, are visible in Malachi. Malachi is one of in chapter 2, is one of the places in Tanakh that describe the importance of the role of the Kohen. And I brought you in source number 10, his description of the ideal Kohen. And he talks about the Kohen as somebody who seeks Chayim v'Shalom. As Ibn Ezra explains in source number 11, he davens for us, for a good verdict for us. Torah Yavakshu Mipihu is in source number 10. We seek his guidance in Mishpat, in justice, and also he's a Malach Hashem Tzvakot. At the end of source number 10, he brings Nevuah. He brings a message from Hashem for us. All 3 roles of the Choshen are wrapped up in the Kohen Gadol. That seems to be the idea here. So what the Choshen is doing is it's embodying Mishpat for us before Hashem and Hashem's Mishpat on our behalf, and that's why it has to involve these names of Hashem, the Urim V'Tumim. I'm at 14 minutes and 2 seconds. I'll take one other idea. Just very quickly. There's an aspiration involved, a hope involved in the Choshen. The simplest explanation of these gems is that they display wealth. Like in the Pasuk in Yechezkel, I brought you in source number 12, which speaks of the wealth of Tzor, of Tyre, and it describes the wealth using the stones, many of the stones that appear on the Choshen. However, Yechezkel there in source number 12 links those stones with Gan Eden, links those stones with the Garden of Eden. Rabbi Weintraub was the sgan of ours, the second sgan that we had in our Beit Midrash. And he liked to talk about the idea that the Beis HaMikdash and the Mishkan are meant to reflect Gan Eden, a world of perfection. And so another aspect of the Choshen with its gems, which represent Gan Eden, is the hope for us to recreate Gan Eden on earth via the Mishkan and via the Beit HaMikdash. There's more to be said on that, but I think that's enough for right now. Thank you very much.